Chapter 146, Third Transformation Golden Pill. In the restaurant, there were also some young talents who worshipped Kangchon and had come here to congratulate him. They all wanted to feel the Overlord's elegance. The mood of the crowd was very excited and euphoric. This was the first time they had seen someone step into the Jidan stage so strongly. And just as soon as he stepped into the Jidan stage, he immediately defeated one of the long-famous imperial capital 4 heroes of the Great Tang Kingdom, Li Yuanba. After this battle, hegemony King Kangchon's name was considered to have completely resounded throughout the Great Tang Kingdom. If the original hegemon Kangchon was the one who had shaken the Great Tang Empire, then the current hegemon Kangchon had already stood at the peak of the young generation of the Great Tang Empire's cultivation world, and was the only young supreme powerhouse that could rival the god of war Zhao Wuji. In short, after this battle, Kangchon's popularity had reached its peak in the Great Tang country. Even some of the older generation experts couldn't compare to him, and he had completely become an existence in the limelight. Imperial capital Li family. Compared to the pomp and circumstance in the Heavenly Dao building, the Li family at this moment appeared incomparably silent and cold. The Li family head, Li Yuanba, the 9th princess, and a group of other elders of the Li family were sitting in the hall in silence, and everyone's complexion was incomparably heavy. This time, Li Laoki died under the heavenly tribulation, and Li Yuanba also lost to Kangchon. The blow to the Li family was very heavy. Their Li family had completely become a stepping stone to Kangchon's fame this time. I didn't expect this son to be so powerful after breaking through the Jidan stage. I miscalculated. Half a second later, the Li family head broke the silence. He let out a long sigh. His heart was incomparably regretful. If he had known that Kangchon's potential was so high, he should have spared no means to exterminate the aftermath in the first place. Now in the imperial capital, at the foot of the Son of Heaven, even if the Li family does not care to deal with Kangchon, there is no chance, because no one dares to make a move in the imperial capital. That's because the Supreme Lord of the Great Tang Kingdom is in the imperial capital. The entire imperial capital is under the majesty of the Lord of the Kingdom. Who dares to make a move in the imperial capital? That's a provocation to the Lord of the Kingdom. This kind of fate, even if it's the Li family, can't withstand it. In the hall, a group of people were silent as they listened to the words of the Li family's head. They knew that this matter was not the fault of the Li family's head. No one had expected Kangchon's talent to be so powerful. Father, I will personally avenge this. Li Yuanba gritted his teeth and said with an incomparably resentful expression. After he finished speaking, he left alone, just now, although he had been saved and woken up by the Li family head. His injuries were still not completely healed. Kangchon's that last slash had caused him to suffer a heavy blow. The crowd silently watched him leave. They all sighed. They understood Li Yuanba's current mood. This battle had dealt Li Yuanba to severe a blow. The fact that he was still able to stand up now had already left the crowd in awe. Li Yuanba's talents and qualifications are 1 in a million. In the entire Great Tang Kingdom, he ranked among the top 5 absolute geniuses. It is a pity that he met Kangchon, this demonic existence, and eventually ended up in such a situation. The 9th princess opened her demonic eyes and calmly said, "Uncle, don't worry. There are millions of outer disciples in the Heavenly Dao sect. Among them there are countless geniuses. Even if he can successfully worship the Heavenly Dao sect this time, he is still only an outer disciple. These outer disciples will often accept some of the sect's missions. Among them there are many disciples who have died in the middle of the missions. There's no need for us to worry over an outer disciple. When it comes to the Heavenly Dao sect, the 9th princess knows much more than all of them. The world wants to worship the Heavenly Dao sect, but they don't realize the brutal competition within the Heavenly Dao sect. If they're not careful, their lives will be in danger. To think that she, the 9th princess of the Great Tang Kingdom, has gone through countless hardships before she was able to become an inner disciple. Kang Tion's talent was indeed very powerful, but the ninth princess wasn't worried, because as long as she arrived at the Heavenly Tao sect, she could completely utilize her identity as an inner disciple to send some very difficult tasks to Kang Tion, or borrow some other forces to deal with Kang Tion, which wasn't difficult for her. Then I'll be grateful to Xiaoju. In addition, when Bea arrives at the Heavenly Tao sect, he still needs you to take care of him. The Li family head nodded at his words, his face looking better. Uncle, don't worry, I'll take care of this matter. That brat didn't give me any face last time. When he arrives at the Heavenly Tao sect, I'll let him know the gap between inner disciples and outer disciples. Princess Nine smiled as a cold light flashed in her eyes when she thought of that day, when Kang Tion had shocked her with a yuanying stage puppet. Her heart was full of anger. In this great Tang country, no one had ever dared to treat her like that. By the way, uncle, doesn't your Li family have another genius called something like Li Chonjiao? Why, I haven't seen it until now. Princess Nine was suddenly curious. Li Chonjiao had progressed very quickly and caused quite a stir in the Li family. Although he was not as good as Li Yuanba, he was also a minor celebrity in the great Tang cultivation world. Princess Nine had heard a little about this. The Li family head smiled and said, "Oh, you mean Chonjiao? I've already accepted him as my righteous son. He's indeed good. Although not as good as Bear, but his talent is not inferior to the great Tang 7 heroes, and will be a powerful aid to Bear in the future. He went out on a training trip not long ago. He should be coming back recently. I will introduce you to him then. Oh, comparable to the 7 warriors of the great Tang dynasty. That's indeed good. I must meet him then." The 9 princesses couldn't help but be a little curious when she heard this. Geniuses like the great Tang 7 warriors were also very rare in the cultivation world, and each one of them would have a future achievement of at least being a peak yuanying stage powerhouse, and it was even possible for them to step into the out-of-body stage and become a true disciple of the Heavenly Tao sect. For such a genius, the 9th princess was sure to pull on her side. Don't look at her to help the Li family so much, but in fact, it was also for her own sake. After all, the competition in the Heavenly Tao sect was brutal, and she needed to pull together a group of helpers. If she had known that Kang Tion's talent was so powerful, then she would have definitely helped Kang Tion. But unfortunately, she had miscalculated once and had already fallen out with Kang Tion, so she could only go all the way to the end with the Li family. Rumble, not far from the imperial capital, in a sloping valley, a green-clothed young man stared proudly at the heavens. Above his head 9 terrifying heavenly thunderbolts rumbled down, exuding a powerful pressure. If someone was here, they would be extremely shocked, because this youth was crossing the 9-9 heavenly tribulation. Only a genius who had formed the 9 transformation Golden Dan could attract such a powerful heavenly tribulation. And in this great Tang kingdom, there were only 4 people who were able to form the 9 revolutions Golden Dan: Zhao Wuji, Kang Tion, Sun Ji, and Li Yuanba. Which one of them was not a powerful person who had shaken the great Tang cultivation world? And at this moment, this ordinary youth had also formed the 9 revolutions Golden Dan. If this was spread out, he would surely be famous in the great Tang country's cultivation world. Rumble. This young man was very powerful. Even the 9-9 heavenly tribulation, he crossed it with ease. The terrifying heavenly thunder was unable to cause him half a bit of harm. Is this the 9-9 heavenly tribulation? It really disappoints me, the youth murmured, and then a powerful demonic aura erupted from him, instantly breaking through the heavenly tribulation clouds and causing the last wave of heavenly thunder to disappear into the firmament. After the youth crossed the heavenly tribulation, his cultivation immediately broke through from the first layer of the Jidan stage to the peak of the 3rd layer of the Jidan stage, and his thick accumulation was undoubtedly evident. However, this was not enough. After absorbing the gifts of the Heavenly Tao, the youth took out 10 demonic blood-colored orbs from his cyan-colored bag, each emitting pure energy. Hey, devouring the essence blood beads condensed by 9 Jiden stage flare powerhouses. I wonder how many layers of the Jiden stage it will allow me to advance to. The youth looked at the 10 blood beads in his hand, a strange light flashing in his eyes. Don't you know if you try it, the demonic skill that this father has passed down to you is naturally extraordinary. A pale voice suddenly came from his mind. The youth immediately swallowed the 10 blood beads upon hearing this, and immediately the thick energy was transmitted into all the limbs and veins in his body. Boom, boom, boom. The youth immediately felt that his entire body's shins were trembling, his body's true essence continued to skyrocket, and his cultivation was also rising in a straight line, instantly, advancing from the peak of the 3rd level of the Jiden stage to the 4th level of the Jiden stage, and it was still continuing to rise. After about 3 hours, the youth's cultivation had reached the 7th level of the Jiden stage, and at this moment, the energy of those 10 blood beads had also been completely absorbed by him. Boom, the youth stomped his foot on the ground, and a powerful force penetrated into the ground, immediately shaking the earth. And the terrifying energy crumbled the earth, forming a terrifying crack that spread towards the surroundings. 7th level of Jiden stage. Here. Now Li Yuanba shouldn't be my opponent. The only one who is a threat to me now is that Zhao Wuji. Feeling his powerful strength, the youth heatedly laughed. Don't forget about that young man called Kangqian. He won't be inferior to you. The pale voice came from his mind once again. HMPH. I won't forget about him. I think the next time, he will be very shocked when he meets me. Li Chonjiao. Haha. The youth laughed, stepped on his sword and flew away, disappearing in the sky. Li Chonjiao. This youth turned out to be Li Chonjiao. If Kangqian knew that Li Chonjiao had formed the 9 Revolutions Golden Dan, and had also stepped into the 7th layer of the Jiden stage, I'm afraid that he would be incomparably shocked. Rumble. In the sky above 100,000 meters, an incomparably huge immortal boat swept in, and wherever it passed, countless clouds were crushed, and its majestic aura shook the heavens and shook the earth. On top of this huge immortal boat, there stood a grey figure with his hands behind his back, his eyes slightly narrowed, his stalwart face, his majestic body, all of them revealing a powerful aura. I didn't expect that this holy ceremony, the Patriarch would even send out the heavenly Dao demon sealing list. It's really shocking. I hope those little guys won't be scared out of their wits. Haha. The corners of the grey-robed man's mouth curled up slightly, and a mysterious smile flashed in his eyes. The huge immortal boat was like a majestic mountain, emitting an aura of suppressing everything in the sky. As it traveled towards the direction of the Great Tang country at a terrifying speed, as the immortal boat traveled, a violent roar emitted from the sky, appearing majestic. And above the white canvas of this immortal boat, 3 large golden characters shone brightly, revealing a majestic aura that intimidated the heavens and the earth. These 3 large golden characters were a heavenly Dao sect. Early in the morning, when the first rays of sunlight shone into the imperial capital, Kangqian, who lived in the Jin mansion, woke up from his cultivation. He opened his eyes and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His essence and vitality were at their peak. Although Kangqian had now stepped into the Jiden stage and defeated Li Yuanba, he still worked hard on his cultivation and didn't dare to be the slightest bit lazy. Because he knew that cultivation was like rowing a boat against the current. It was either going forward or backward. If you want to become a top powerhouse, then you have to endure the loneliness and pain of cultivation. Only then will you be able to walk on this difficult path. I have completely stabilized at the 5th level of the Jiden stage realm. Next, while I continue to raise my cultivation, I will also be researching the second blade technique. Kangqian took a deep breath as light flashed in his eyes. This time, not only did he kill Li Laoki, he also defeated Li Yuanba, causing Kangqian to be completely clear in his thoughts and his heart had long since been free of worries. He needed to do now was to continue cultivating and prepare for the upcoming Heavenly Dao Sect's disciple acceptance ceremony. After stepping into the Jidan stage, Kangchon's cultivation path became much clearer. Now he needed to raise his cultivation as quickly as possible on the one hand, and create the second blade technique on the other. These two paths were the most urgent for Kangchon at the moment. Raising his cultivation could not be achieved in one go. It would take time. Kangchon was not in a hurry for the time being. According to what the Dan Emperor had said, his current strength was enough to succeed in worshipping the Heavenly Dao Sect. There was simply no need to worry about it anymore.